Five, four, three, two, one. It's your piano teacher, Tim, here, and in today's lesson, I'm going to be running through my entire scales and arpeggios routine. I'm going to be making some mistakes along the way, but you're going to learn that there's no better way of learning than learning from my mistakes. So before we really begin, I want to tell you that if you are brand new to learning scales, you don't know them all yet, you definitely want to pick up a scale book like this one. This one's called The Complete Book of Scales, Chords, Arpeggios, and Cadences. A lot of good information in here, such as introducing the scales in order, having the correct finger numbers and everything. I'm not going to go through the nitty-gritty of every single scale today. It's really of an overall practice session and making mistakes along the way and sharing the tips that I have for you. So let's not waste any time and let's get right on into the lesson. Okay, so here we are at the keyboard. And hello everybody joining us live. So I'm going to start out with my practice routine. I actually haven't practiced my scales in a while, which is actually a kind of a good thing because I can show you where things might get rusty, where you can improve. So let's open up here. The great thing about this book as well is it introduces things like triad chords, inversions, simple voice leading, primary chords. These are all things you're going to need when you're actually playing piano. And here they have actually, I guess I should define scale and arpeggio really quick before we begin. So what a scale is it's all the notes that exist within a key played from the beginning note to the end note. And certain keys have certain sharps or flats in certain places. A chord is when you play three stacked notes like that at once. That specifically is called a triad. And you can invert that triad by taking the notes and switching up their orders. I have the same three notes, G, B, and D, but I switch up the orders to B, D, and G. So you're going to be seeing those a lot because when you're playing your arpeggios, which by the way, an arpeggio is when you play a chord, but you play it notes separately. So when you're playing your arpeggios, as you'll see in a minute when I play through my routine, you're actually going to have to play them starting on each of the notes in inversions. So you're going to have to know what those are. So just laying some groundwork before we begin. Not going to get into all these nitty-gritty today, like I said. But of course, I'm going to start with the key of C major here, 0 sharps, 0 flats. So let me just play. I'm going to be playing these 4 octaves. I'm playing them basically from memory because I have been playing them a while, and then once I play it, I will give a tip and tell you where we're going from there. So here we go. I'm going to start out slow. I haven't played these in a while. And when I start out, I want my fingertips to slightly point in the direction that I'm going. Just going to play them as quarter notes to begin. Paying close attention to the finger crosses. That's the number one thing you're going to have to watch out for when you practice your scales is crossing the right fingers at the right time. What I like to do is I always like to pick a point with my right hand and my left hand, and I always think, what note is finger 4 hitting? So what that means is you have your fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and every scale has usually one note that hits with finger 4 and only one note. And how that's going to help you is, say I get to the 3rd note of the scale and I don't know what note to cross over with. Well, if I already know that B is the only note in the scale that hits with finger 4, I know that I have to cross under with 1 instead of using finger 4 there. Same thing with your left hand. I know that finger 4 hits on D. Therefore, when I cross over here, I know that I'm not going to be hitting finger 4 there, but using 3 because finger 4 hits on D. So the whole key of the point is to pick a basically a point in your right hand and a point in your left hand. What note in your right hand is hitting finger 4 and what note in your left hand is hitting with finger 4. Really good with getting down your note crosses. Let me just to click here. It looks like everything is good today. Okay, just making sure, like, let me know if the sound or anything is not correct as I go along. But it looks like we're good right now. So hello to everybody joining us live. We're going to continue here. Okay, so that was the first tip I had for you, as well as pointing your fingers gently in the way you're going to be playing. Now, I could play it at that slow speed just fine. So I'm actually going to double time it. I'm going to be playing, if these were my quarter notes, I'm going to be playing the eighth notes as this. Wait, so 1 and 2 and... It looks like I can handle it just fine. And when I was coming down, I actually got a little confused with my left hand. I was like, oh no, what finger should hit that G? Well, I already know. What rule should I use? What finger hits with the finger 4 rule, I guess we could call it. I know that finger 4 with this scale hits on D. So therefore I know that I'm not going to hit G there. I'm going to cross right there. So it's going pretty well so far. What some people do when they're playing them multiple octaves is they'll start out playing 1 octave quarter notes. And then when they get back down, they'll do something different, as you'll see here in a second. And next, once you get to the bottom, you're going to play 2 octaves with eighth notes now. And then once you do that, you're going to try to play 3 octaves in triplets. Couldn't hear that, that's in groupings of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And it only works with 3 octaves because you're playing triplets and you need the correct amount of notes in there. So if you try playing triplets in only 2 octaves, you're only going to get there before you run out of triplet space, basically. So just letting you know that. And then once you can do triplets, 3 octaves, you're going to do 16th notes, 4 octaves. Oh, let me try that again. As you can see, I couldn't quite do it. So this is what you're going to be working up to, right? So if you're just learning your scales, stick to 1 octave for now. But when you do go multiple octaves, one thing you're going to have to get used to is the next to last note. When you're doing 1 octave, you can end on finger 5 in your thumb here. That's no problem. But what happens if you want to play up another octave? Well, you're going to have to remember that the next to last note here, you're going to have to cross again, same thing here, to keep it going. So when you move from 1 octave to multiple octaves, you're going to have to really watch out for that finger cross at the very end. So where is this information? Say Tim is not around. Well, your information is in the scale book. Again, it's called The Complete Book of Scales, Chords, Arpeggios, and Cadences. It's by Alfred's Basic Piano Library. Yeah, there are some free websites like pianoscales.org, I think. But it is not nearly as comprehensive and not nearly as nice of a learning resource. Yes, I will leave this lesson recorded so you can watch later. Somebody had asked. Okay, now, as you could hear a minute ago, I couldn't quite play my scale up to speed. So I'm going to use this. You know, it's everybody's love-hate relationship, the metronome. Oh, that's volume up. So I need to pick a speed that's good for me, right? And I might even have it count out the 16th notes. So that's very fast for scales, or at least for what I'm going for. Okay, so those are actually literally my 16th notes. All those clicks are each individually a beat, as you will find out. So I'm going to try 4 octaves playing it at that speed. Hopefully you can hear it. Let me turn it up just for you. Move this over here. Should be able to hear it because I can hear it really. Wait, hold on. Because I can hear everything through the microphone. So even I can hear it is really loud. So here we go. Let me try. So what I like to do is when I'm playing with the metronome, I like to really feel it out. Really hear it in the context of actually how I'm going to be playing it, right? Kind of lost the count a little bit, so let me keep trying. You know what? Let me get this in 4 beats here. 3, 4. That was throwing me off a little bit there. So here we go. Almost had it. I got a little bit off and then got back on. So let me slow it down. This is actually really good practice because it's like, what do you do if you can't quite keep up, right? So there's each of our counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Da, da, da. These are 16th. So here we go. I'm gonna try again. Da, 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 da. I lost it again. Let me actually put it in a better location here. Hold on. I'm going to slow it way down as well. But it keeps falling on my keyboard here. So there we go. I think that'll be a little better. So I'm going to da 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 da. Yeah, not bad. Okay, now, since I could play it at that speed, what should I do? I should bump it up. No, that's too fast. Da, 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 da. I think I can maybe handle that as well. And you know what? I might even... I like that better than having the 4 beats. So if you are using a metronome and you're trying to figure out the beats, when you select each one, it'll put an accented one. See how it's 1, 2, 1. See this for 2 beats. Here's 3. 1, 2, 3. So it really helps actually, I feel like, to have no accents at all. So let me try that. There, I'm starting to get used to it now. That helped me out a little bit. So let's bump it up some more. Let's see if I can get all these up to about 80. That's a pretty good speed. So there's our 16 those. It's going to be quite a bit faster. We're going to see if we can do it. I'm going to think about internalizing it first. Da, 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 da. Not too bad. Started to get a little off there. Like I said, I need to find a good position for this thing so it's not constantly sliding down my keyboard. But that's how you would get your scales all the way up to the same speed. You would start them out slow, see if you can play them in the 16th notes up 4 octaves. If you're only, and then gradually increasing your tempo. If you're just starting out scales, don't even bother with the metronome. I would just really work on like finger crossings, getting the right notes at the right time. Not necessarily speed or getting them even, but metronome is for speed and getting them even. So now I'm going to go into the C major arpeggios. Now the thing is, when you're playing arpeggios within one octave, you can use the fingering 1, 3, 5. That's just fine. Same thing with the left hand, 5, 3, 1. However, if you're playing multiple octaves, you're going to want to use this fingering, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Because if you use 1, 3, 5, it's too disjointed. Like, I can kind of do it, but if you use 1, 2, 3, you can actually pivot underneath while you're hitting that G. You can make them a bit smoother that way. So 1, 2, 3. Again, all the fingers and stuff is in your book here. Now your left hand, 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. So just careful that the fingering's a little different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this. I'm going to do it 1 octave first, and then 2 octaves, then 3 octaves, then 4 octaves. You can use a little bit of pedal during your arpeggios, but I recommend to go light on it, because a lot of people use their pedal to cover up mistakes, and you don't want that. Okay, so once you can play them, we actually play them all in root position. So now we're going to play them all in first inversion. It's literally the same thing, except you're just starting on the middle note now. Same thing when you get to the top. You're stopping on that third note, the E, instead of the C. And then when you do the second inversion, it's literally the same thing. You're just starting on the G. And you definitely want to practice them in the different inversions, but if you're just starting out, just learn your chord and then, you know, your 1 octave arpeggios. Where are these written? They are written in this book that I told you about, and I will continue telling you about because it's very, very useful. All right. So I've played the key of C now, C major. So what scale should I do next? Well, if you're just learning them, especially, you want to go in order of difficulty. So you want to go from least complicated scale, C major, and work your way eventually up to the most complicated scale, which is C sharp major with all the sharps. So we just played the scale with 0 sharp, 0 flats. So it makes perfect sense to me to play the scale with 1 sharp next, G. And then the next one after that would be D, and then E. If you know about the circle of fifths, you'll be in good shape with this. But if not, all of this is written down where? In the magical book, of course. Okay, I'm going to play my G major. I'm just going to play this one beginning to end, and then I'll talk about it at the end. And then as I play more and more of these, I'm probably going to talk less and less. I just wanted to make sure I got some tips out right in the beginning as they come to mind. So let me play through G, see how that goes. I'm going to do it 1 octave, then 2, then 3 in triplets, and then 4 and 16th notes like I told you for C. So here we go. So now 2 octaves with 8th notes. Here we go. Then triplets. Took me a long time to get triplets, by the way. It might take you a while. And then 16th notes. Not bad. What I do after that? I'm gonna not do that right now just to save time, but I would bring out the metronome. I would start out real slow, then get them, you know, in 16th notes with the metronome, gradually increasing your tempo. Eventually, ideally, if I was practicing these for a couple weeks, I would be working my way back up to 100 beats per minute, or even 120 if I'm feeling real fancy. But that's what I would do next, and then I'm going to play the arpeggios. Same thing, I'm going to do 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3 octaves, then I'm going to 4 octaves, and then I'm going to do what based on the last one. I'm going to do the inversions. It's literally the same thing, except you're starting on the middle note. And then you're going to do the third inversion. It's literally the same thing. You're just starting, whoops, you're starting and ending on that 5th there. And you can see on that last inversion, or that last arpeggio rather, I had trouble. So what I would do is either on a piece of paper, or if I had the book, you know, if I listened to my teacher Tim and I bought the book, what I would do is I would go over here, right where I stopped, the second inversion, and I would like star that. And then what I would do is when I come back, like maybe the next practice session, I would go through all those starred areas, start my practice session with those, and clean those up. So always be taking note along the way what scales are giving you trouble. The next scale we're going to do is the key of D major. I'm just going to zoom right through it, and then kind of tell you if I have any tips for you or not. Let me see if anybody's talking in the chat here. Hello, I hope everybody is doing well. Okay, let us continue here on with D major. Again, if you want to know where all the scales are at, they are in the book. Let me know, by the way, in the comments if you want me to do a full like scale lesson, like fingering, like take lots of time between each one. Let me know if you want that lesson. Like I said, this lesson's an overall like see me practice and see the tips that I have along the way type of lesson. But let me know if you want that one with all the fingering and stuff. Okay, so we're going to move on to D. I'm going to start out with what? 1 octave, right? And then 2 octaves, then 3 octaves in triplets, and then 4 octaves. So here we go. Let's try that one again. Let me try that one again. A lot better. And then after that, what would I do? Based on everything I've said so far, I would play it with the metronome. Slow at first, gradually increasing your tempo up to what number? 100. But you're probably not going to be able to do that one practice session. You might only be able to bump it up a little bit. Okay, so then I would do the D major arpeggios, just like before. You know, normally I would just do 1 octave, then 2, then 3, but I just went through and did 4. If I had trouble with that, what would I do? I would mark that down in the book, or like literally on paper, I would write D major arpeggio. And then what would I do? The next beginning of the next practice session, or even at the end of the one you're currently on, but the beginning of the next one, go through all those starred areas or all those troubled areas and fix them up. It's always important to do that. Okay, we're going to keep going here through the rest of them now. Like just bing, bang, boom, I think. So here we go. The next one after D is A. Let me try it again. Triplets. Oops. Let me slow it down. You may hear that, and actually it's not even that long, you may hear that I keep tapping the keys. Well, with my one fingernail, I actually did trim it, has like a thing sticking out there. So one tip I have for you, don't let your fingernails get too long. If you find that your fingernails are clacking against the keys a lot, you either got to cut your fingernails or you just got to live with clacky keys. So just throwing that out there. Let me do the arpeggio now. I'm just going to go right to the 4 octaves, but remember I would start with 1, do 2, then 3, and then 4. And if I had any trouble with that, I'd write that down, so forth. On to E. Just started out right with the 2 octaves there, then 3 octave triplets. And then 16th notes. Try that again. So I messed up that one. So I would write that one down, E major, and I would do what? I would start with that one the next practice session. But it wasn't that bad. So I'm just going to continue. I'm going to do the arpeggios next. And because it's my first time back playing scales, at least practicing them for real for a while, I'm not so concerned with speed, but once I played them maybe for a couple weeks, I would use the metronome to get them all the way up to speed. Next one's B. Once you start to get to the B scale and beyond, you're really going to have to pay attention to the fingering because it is quite different. I'm just going to start out with 2 octaves here. And 3 octave triplets. What? 16th notes. There we go, there's the last note. Let me try that one again. I just thought of a really useful tip. So when I was playing these in 16th notes, I noticed that my fingers were having trouble keeping up at the higher speed. Sometimes it really helps to think light, like light fingers. Like obviously when you're first learning these, you're going to be all tensed up trying to get the right finger crosses and everything. But once you play them for a while, you can kind of relax your hand. You know, there's no point in making your hand tense up like a claw. It looks like there might be a tornado outside. Great. There's no need in making your hand tense up like a claw because that will reduce your speed. It's a little tip there. I would go through, I would play the arpeggios. That one I had a little trouble with, so I'd write down B, and then I would start from there, my next practice session. But that one wasn't too bad. Gonna do F sharp next. And then once we finish the sharp scales, I'll talk a little bit about something else. I would play the arpeggios, mark down any problem areas, then I would go to C sharp, just trying to get things to move along here a little bit more. And again, I would play the arpeggios. And then marking down, obviously, anything that went wrong along the way. So I've given you quite a few tips already practicing through my practice routine. Obviously, playing through it for real, I wouldn't have these starts and stops. I would just keep going. I would say the most important thing so far, tip so far, is one, pay attention to the fingering, and two, sorry, I'm going to take a drink here in a second. Pay attention to the fingering, and two, mark down your problem areas and go over those first thing next time. You'd be surprised how in the long run that's really going to help you out. Let me get like a drink here. This episode is brought to you by Bubbly Sparkling Water. Bubbly, send me my check in the mail, please. I'm just kidding. All right, let me take another drink. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. All right, we're going to continue here in just a few seconds. Give me a second here. Invite your friends to the live stream, everybody. Okay, we're going to continue here. No rest for the wicked. Okay, and again, another important tip is to buy the book, buy the book, buy the book. So let's continue here. Maybe I'll talk about primary chords here kind of towards the end. Because as you notice, it says scales, chords, arpeggios, and cadences. I didn't even talk about cadences. So that's pretty important. We'll see if we can get to that today. But we're going to continue on with, do you like my new graphics, guys? We're going to continue on after you play all the sharp scales. So there's a set of 7 sharp scales, and then there's scales with flats. These are all major scales, by the way. So once you learn, wait, I forgot to tell you the bad news. So you learn all these major scales, right? 12 of them. And then guess what? You don't just have 12 minor scales to learn. You have 12, 24, basically 36 minor scales to learn, because there's technically 3 versions of the minor scale. I'm not going to go through and play them all today. I'm just going to kind of explain what they are and which of the 3 you really should be practicing on a regular basis. So let's get back to the piano here. So after your sharp scales, you're going to be learning your flat scales. The first one's F. And again, finger crosses are super important. Again, where are all the finger crosses written? In the magic book. Again, let me know in the description, in the comments of this video when it's posted, if you want a full-on scale lesson, fingerings and everything. So here we go. So just playing at 1 octave like I would. 2 octaves. 3 octaves. My opinion, the hardest one. And the 16th notes. Oh, so close. I would play that one again until I got that, but for time's sake. Or I could write it down, tackle it next time. Up to you. Okay, so I played all of those. Again, the tip I gave you in the beginning, which was what? Pick out what key hits with finger 4. In this case, with the key of F, it's always B flat, because that will help you determine, you know, like right here, for instance, it's like, oh, do I hit that F with 1 or 4? Well, I know it's 1 because 4 only hits with the B flat. Same thing with the left hand, but it's G. So just a reminder, that finger 4 little tidbit there for you. Okay, then what would I do? I would go through and mark down any trouble areas, obviously, and then I would go through and I would play the arpeggios. Now when you're you're first playing these, I said that you can use pedal. You got to make sure, unfortunately I don't have a camera on the pedal, but every time basically I'm hitting the first note of the arpeggio here, I am lifting up off the pedal real quick and pushing it back down. You don't want to keep it held the whole time. As nice as that does sound, eventually it might muddy things up, make it a little bit tougher to pick out mistakes, and so on and so forth. All right, and then I would go forth, and I would go forth and play the B flat scale, you know, like 1 octave, then 2 octaves, 3 octaves, and then 4 octaves. I think you get the idea. If I wanted to get up to full speed, I would use what? I would use that bad boy, the metronome, of course. And then the one after B flat, I'm not going to play the arpeggio, but one thing, actually I'm glad I played this. You got to be careful that the arpeggio fingerings change, especially when you go through from like scales that have just all white keys to ones that have some of them flatted and some of them not, because that will change what finger, I sound like I'm drunk today, what finger that you start with. As I slur my words together, but you get the idea by now, right? I don't know if I'm going to run through every single flat scale now, just because I think you get the idea, right? Here's the process. Number 1, learn the scale. But if you have the scale learned, this is what you should do. Play the scale in quarter notes, 1 octave, right? And then you're going to double time it. You're going to play it 1/8 notes for 2 octaves. Makes sense. You're splitting it up. You have twice as many octaves to cover. Then you're going to do 3 octaves in triplets. Like I said, that one seems to take people the longest to get the hold of. And then you're going to play 4 octaves in, I was going to say quadruplets, 16th notes. That's what they're called. So each time you're kind of, you know how it works, like 1 octave, quarter notes, 2 octaves, 1/8 notes. They're in pairs of 2, right? 3 octaves, triplets, pairs of 3. 4 octaves, 16th notes. Those are in pairs of 4. So that's how you want to work your way up to be able to practice your scale. But obviously, if you're just working them out the first time, just work on getting the right notes, the right time with the right fingers. That's where you want to start. And then after that, if you wanted to get them up to a certain speed or get them played evenly, you would then use your metronome. This, if I use this today through all the scales, we would still be on like the first or second one. Now, keep in mind, this is the first time that I've played my scales or practiced them in a while. So as I've practiced them, they would take less and less time, even with the metronome. But the metronome is what you want to get them like real even, up to a certain speed. The metronome part, I'm going to be honest with you, would be the last thing I add on. I would start just getting the right notes, right fingers. Then I would try doing them in the different octaves like I talked about, working out any problem areas. Because to practice with the metronome, you have to have whatever you're playing at a certain level, right? Because playing with the metronome requires a lot of coordination and a lot of patience and a lot of attention. So the more you have the notes underneath your fingers, the easier it is going to be to play with the metronome. So use the metronome like once you've learned your scales and you're looking them to get to that next level. And then go through, learn your arpeggios. Same thing, marking down any problem areas. You can practice those with the metronome too. Now keep in mind that a metronome, that a arpeggio is going to have 3 notes to it, right? So it makes sense to play them in triplets. So for each of these clicks, it would be dun 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 dun. Kind of like that. So just careful of the timing on those. So far, So we were about 40 minutes in, so I'm going to continue here. There's still actually a lot to talk about, even though I'm not going to play every single scale like I kind of intended. But like I said, I'd rather take the time to pause between each one, give you the notes off the top, that come to my mind, because that's really what you're here for today. Again, if you want a full nitty-gritty scale lesson, let me know. I'll think about it. Okay, let's continue. Let me take a sip here. Thank you everybody thank you Emma for linking the scales books. All right, we're going to continue now. Sorry, I like to kind of read the comments every once in a while. So you would go through and you would learn all your flat scales. Again, they're written for you in order here. But then guess what? You have a whole selection of minor scales to learn. So let me just show you maybe 3 minor scales. Talk about the differences between the different types of minor scales. And we'll go from there. So, just like with major scales, you started learning out with 0 sharps, 0 flats. So therefore, your minor scales, you're going to start out with 0 sharps, 0 flats. Now let me explain something here. For every major key, there is a minor equivalent. They share the same exact key signature, meaning they have the exact same sharps in the exact same places. The only thing that changes, at least for now, the only thing that changes is your starting note. So for example, the key of C major has 0 sharps, 0 flats. The minor equivalent is A minor. You're literally playing the same scale. You're just starting on A now. Same fingering as well. As you can see, just starting from A changes the sound from like a happy-go-lucky sound to a sad and stormy sound. Maybe like a little bit melancholy. But there's one thing. Well, that's actually, let me keep on that point for a little bit. So for every major key, there's a minor equivalent. And this is how you find the minor equivalent to any key. You open up your scale book and it tells you, but there's another way. So you say you have your major key, C major. What you do is you go down 1, a 2, a 3 notes, 3 half steps or semitones as we call them. And that's your answer. So the key of A minor shares the same key signature as C major. What about G major? Right, that was the key with 1 sharp from before. Well, you take G major and you go 1, 2, 3. So the key of E minor has 1 sharp, F sharp, just like G major. Now you do have to pay attention because when we were playing G major, the sharp didn't occur until the next to last note. Whereas if you start on E, the sharp is actually the second note. So you got to watch out that the sharps, even though they're the same sharps, they will appear in different locations in the scale. Okay, there's more. Okay, back to A minor, which remember was the equivalent to C major. Now, what they do a lot, this is what we call a natural minor scale. But 99% of the time, you're not going to be playing the natural minor scale. You're going to be playing what's called the harmonic minor scale. They've messed with it. How dare they? So what they do to make it into a harmonic minor scale is they take the next to last note, and what they do is they sharp it. You got to keep in mind that we're replacing that note with the sharped version of it. Why do they do this? To add what's called a leading tone. That G sharp really wants to lead you back to the A, whereas the A natural minor scale didn't have that leading tone. It sounds a little bit incomplete without that leading tone back there. And most of the time you're going to be learning the harmonic minor scale. So just know this. The natural minor is when you take a major. if you could play it right. And you're just starting it on a different key. So that's natural minor. Harmonic minor is when you alter that next to last one. So for this portion of it, I'm going to be playing the harmonic minor versions. You may want to learn your natural minor versions as well, but in music school, they really only ever had us play the harmonic minors, I guess for time's sake. So anyway, you start out with the 1 with 0 sharp, 0 flats, even though clearly with the leading tone, they do add a sharp there. It's important to point out that the sharp in the harmonic minor is not part of the official key signature. So in the key of A minor, you're still going to see nothing written. The G sharp in the piece, fortunately I don't have something in front of me to show you right now, but in the piece it would be written as an accidental right next to the G instead of as a part of the key signature. So just know that the sharp they add is not part of the key signature. Now if your head is swimming, don't worry. Well, I'll kind of ease off the music theory for now, but I just want to let you guys know about that. And again, all this is written where? In this amazing book. It's called The Complete Book of Scales, Chords, Arpeggios, and Cadences. I think I have a link for you in the description. I can't talk today, but I don't remember. So there's the title, just in case. Again, look, natural, harmonic, and melodic. I don't know if I'm going to get into melodic today because I promised I'm not going to get I'm not going to do any more music theory on you guys because it's just not a music theory type of lesson, at least not yet. Okay, so after I learned the 1 with 0 sharp, 0 flats, I would play that 1 octave, then 2 octaves. I'm going to do it right now. So I play it 1 octave, quarter notes. Then what am I going to do? I'm going to play 2 octaves, eighth notes. Then what I'm going to do? 3 octaves. Triplets, and then 16th notes. You might have to slow that one down to get that. But if I wanted to get them as even and fast as possible, I would use what? I would use your buddy, the metronome. As you can see, both the book and the metronome are the most important things you will need to accomplish all of this. And then I would go through, I would play the arpeggios. The great thing about the arpeggios, though, is when you're playing a major chord versus a minor chord, there's only 1 note difference. You're just taking this middle note and lowering it. So therefore, it kind of makes the arpeggios, once you learn the major ones, it makes the arpeggios easier because it's, as I was saying, it makes them easier because you kind of already know what the fingering is. You're just altering 1 note. That actually might make it harder for certain people, but just throwing that out there. And then I would continue learning my minor scales, harmonic minor scales, in order from 0 sharps to 7 sharps, and then 0 flats to 7 flats. Again, it's all written here in the book for everybody. There's other types of arpeggios. There are dominant 7th arpeggios. These are more like jazz oriented, but they are worth checking out. I thought there was another one in here. I could be mistaken. There are other ways to practice your scales, like in thirds. So say I've learned all my scales, I've mastered all of them, and I'm bored. So then what you would do is you would start playing them in thirds. Just mean you're starting 3 notes apart, just to add a little bit of extra intrigue. No, it actually really helps kind of develop. It kind of forces you to pay more attention to the finger crosses. And then there's also contrary motion. This is all extra stuff, guys, where you start on the same note, you go outside, and then you come back in. I remember my student Michaela, that was like her favorite thing to do. She could play it like perfectly first try. Yeah, so I go through, I would do all my minor scales in order. Again, if I wasn't teaching you guys, I would be talking a lot less, playing a lot more, and I would be going through each one of these, you know, in more detail. But I didn't expect this to continue on. We're going to keep going, by the way. For, you know, we're already at 51 minutes. I can't believe it. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. I can't recommend this book enough. We're going to continue. I'm going to give you a couple more hints here in a minute. I just want to continue. Oh, chromatic scales. Let me tell you about chromatic scales really quick. Chromatic scale is kind of like its own scale. And so what a chromatic scale involves is moving up the keyboard and hitting all of the notes in between. It's like literally an omni scale. It literally has like every sharp and flat in it. And there's a certain finger pattern to use. Oops. Now I can't get it. When I was talking a minute ago, I could get it no problem. And you want to learn that as well. You're going to see that come up in jazz. I've even seen it come up in classical and romantic music a bit. That's actually a really good point for all scales and arpeggios. You learn them because, one, they get your fingers in shape. Two, they tell you like basically the layout of each key. And three, I forget where I was going with that. They're good for you. They give you I was giving you the benefits of the scales. It's a good practice exercise. It gets your fingers in shape, tells you what's in the key. I don't know. Hopefully I remember the other point here in a second. You ever have that happen? Okay, let's continue. Then if you get really good with scales, you can actually start to improvise. Like if you learn all these scales and arpeggios, you can begin to improvise, create like your own little songs just based on basically the chords and scales that exist within each key. I'm going to tell you real quick, about primary chords. So back to the key of C, real simple. You can actually build a chord on each note of the scale. So if you have 7 individual notes, you have 7 individual chords to choose from. First chord, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Octaves. The primary chords, this is actually in the scale book, are the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord. So as an additional thing, once you learn your scales, begin thinking about, okay, what are the primary chords in each key? Because they change depending on what key that you're in, right? The 1 chord for G would be G now, 4 would be C, 5 would be D. So that's just kind of like where you go from there. So hopefully I've given you a good scope, like if you're just starting out, where to start, aka the book, and then, you know, maybe if you've been working on your scales a while, what you should be working up to. So let me do some announcements and other things. Don't go away just yet, please. So let me, there's actually a big announcement. I'm going to save that for like 5 minutes from now. I want to do the less big announcement that's also kind of big. Okay, so over on my website, pianolessonsontheweb.com, there's actually a fall sale. It's only going on for 2 more days until the end of the month. But let me explain what this is about. So if you like my lessons, you're going to love my courses, and I'll explain why. So my courses basically are a more structured way of learning. So on YouTube, I'll generally cover a topic. I might give you something little to practice, but usually not, and then we just move on to the next thing. Well, these are structured courses all around like a certain topic. So think about them as like maybe a college course or a high school course. You're going to have units just like you would in any other course, usually 5 to 7 units. Each unit you're going to be learning about a certain topic introduced to you in a video, but also accompanying notes. And then you'll also, this is the big advantage compared to YouTube, another big advantage is that you also get playing examples and exercises and assignments and a lot of other things based around what you were learning for that unit to give you the opportunity to practice and master each topic as well, rather than just like barely learning it and moving on. It's so important when learning music to have all this stuff like the back of your hand, you know that saying. So these courses will really help you accomplish that because you'll be learning something, practicing it, and actually mastering it. And then you can go back and look through your notes, you know, later on to review. Let's continue here. So these are great. Like if you're just starting out, you just learned about me today or maybe recently, I have courses there for you. So I have beginners courses, intermediate courses, and advanced courses. So if you have been following me for a while, you're looking to take things to that next level, well, the courses are just the way to do that because they do cover things I have covered in more detail on the channel, but they've also covered things that I have yet to cover on the channel, at least in any meaningful detail. So let me get back to the website here. You can learn about music theory, piano, improvisation, rhythm, ear training, and anything else I felt like you would need to become a well-rounded piano player and musician. You can contact me with any questions you may have along the way, of course. You can learn at your own pace. Courses don't expire, so you don't have to worry like, oh, I just signed up, but I'm sick this month, or, I have a play. I don't know. I'm going to be in, I was going to say Wall Street. That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to be in Broadway or something, so I don't have time to practice. Well, don't worry, all you Broadway people. You're going to have time to practice it all because the courses don't expire. Just make sure I covered everything here. So one thing I want to talk about are the various course packs. So you can sign up for courses individually. That's from the Buy Courses tab at the top. But actually, let's just go to the Buy Courses page. You can buy course packages or individual courses, $29.99 a piece. But what I highly recommend you check out are the course packages. First of all, these are organized based on playing level. So all the intermediate courses are in all the beginner courses are in the beginners, intermediate, and the intermediate pack, advanced. So depending on where you're at maybe in your learning, kind of gives you an idea on where to start. Also, the course packs are also great for getting a better deal. So as you could see before, each individual course was $29.99. This course pack is 4 courses for $32.99, so just a few dollars more. I mean, it is on sale for a few days here. If you want to learn about each course, you can just click on it. It takes you to the course description page, what you're going to have to know ahead of time, so very important. And then also the other thing that's very important is what you're going to be able to do at the end of the course. This will actually also help you tell where to start, what course to take. So say like, okay, I just started, playing music, and I checked out Introduction to Piano Music, and I know everything in there. Well, keep going down the list until you get to one where it says what you need to know, and you're like, oh, I don't really know about dynamic yet, or I could use more work on this half note, whole note thing. So I would start with this course. But if you ever have any questions about what course you should start with, just let me know. And again, this is important here, what you're going to be able to do at the end of the course. And again, there's a music theory course. Satisfaction guarantee. So if you request a refund within 30 days of purchase, no problem. Just email me and I'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. And then the same thing with the intermediate pack, and the advanced pack. They are a little bit more expensive, but they include 9 courses, so quite a lot to keep you learning for a long time. Also on the course description pages, excuse me, got some burps going on. on the course description pages, there's also a, like, this is really, really like general, because a lot of students can take a lot less time or a lot more time on courses than others, but generally how long it's going to take you to get through each course. There's one more thing I want to tell you about today. So let's say we want to add, this is the all course access. This is the best deal on the whole website. But say, and this works with any course pack, say you add this to your cart like you would on any website. Oh, it's at the bottom. That's because I have it minimized in a weird way. I'm not used to this. Here we go. So you click checkout like you would. Make sure you have the correct number of packages in there. There we go. I accidentally had 2 added. Okay, one thing I want to tell you about. This is just thank you for coming today. Type in YouTube into the coupon box. Click apply, and you'll get an additional, on top of the already discounted price, an additional 15% off any order of courses. So I want to tell you about that because, one, if you like my stuff here on YouTube, you're going to love my courses. And then 2, it's a great way to both invest more in your own music education, but also the channel as well. Like the signups through the website are seriously what keeps us going, keeps me be able to keep growing the channel, keep doing the channel as a career. And so it's just a extra thank you to all the people who have signed up so far. And just to let anybody know that when you sign up for courses through my website, you're not just helping yourself, or you're not just helping me. You know, it works both ways. So pianolessonsontheweb.com. Please don't forget to use code YouTube for 15% off. I have another important announcement for you guys. Let me just check here really quick. Here we go. So I have another important announcement. Emma, get the Discord link ready, please. If you're still active in the chat. I think I saw you there. Okay. Here I go showing you DMs again, as I do whenever I show Discord. Just kidding. How wide do I want this? Yeah, it's pretty good. So we have a community Discord, and there's a specific reason I'm telling you about this. But Emma will link you, give you a link in the description, not in the description, in the comments or the chat, to join our Discord. There's several good things about joining the Discord. So the Discord is basically like, if you don't know what Discord is, it's basically like kind of a fancy chat room thing. So you'll join our Discord channel, and then over on the side you have all these different chat rooms you can take a look at and participate in. Each one having its own purpose. You can kind of read through these and check them out. But there's a really, really important reason I wanted to tell you about the Discord, and that is the Piano Practice Club. So Piano Practice Club is a new feature on the channel, and I want you to think about it as a book club, but for practicing piano. So if you know how a book club works, right, you all read the same book or from the same selection of books. You meet maybe at the end, or let's say the beginning of the month. You meet at the beginning of the month, and then what do? You come together, you talk about the book you read, and then you select a new book for the next month. This works the same way. So for each month, on the Discord, you can actually see, for each month there is a list of pieces. This month, this is the first month, so I chose the entire list. So your problem with the list, it's entirely my fault. But this is basically the selection of pieces that you can select from for this month. You don't have to play all of them. In fact, I don't encourage you to do so. I only encourage you to learn one out of the list. And what we're going to do is next week, actually, what is the date next week? November the 5th already is going to be our first meeting at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to be coming together, playing through the list of pieces that I gave you, talking about it. It'll be similar to today, where I'll play a little bit. I'll tell you maybe some pointers on each of the pieces that we're playing, and then we're going to select new pieces for the next month. But which by the way are here in the October pieces, but if you want, you don't have to, but if you want, I'm checking out who gave me some love there. If you want, you can submit a playing submission of you playing, and Peter has done so. Now, I haven't gotten many other recordings though, but that's okay. Like I said, I can pick up the slack in a lot of the places. But if you want, you can select a playing submission, and I will play it on the live stream if you want me to, or if you just want to get some feedback on it. Just let us know here. Oops, I already I was almost thumbs that down. You can just put it here, and I'll take a look. Recommendations. So this is like, if you want to recommend a piece for the next month, you can do that here as well. So again, the piece is what we're going to be learning. Playing submissions, that's optional, and then recommendations if you have any for the next time. So please join our Discord. It's totally free. You just join our Discord and you're already part of Piano Practice Club. And it's going to be the first Friday. It's going to be the first live stream. We have live streams Friday at 3 p.m. And it's going to be the first Friday of each month is going to be our meeting time. So again, we're going to meet, we're going to learn and discuss, and then we're going to select what we're doing for the next meeting. And it's going to be a cool way for all of us to all learn something together and be part of a community together. So I thought that was a cool idea. A lot of people seem to think it's a good idea. We'll see kind of how it pans out in practice, but I'm really looking forward to it. So I really wanted to tell you guys about that. A really cool new thing with the channel that's going on. Whoa, we have a lot of likes today. All right, guys. Let me think if there's anything else I want to tell you about. I don't think there really is. That's not you. Wait, where are you guys? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you guys know what that's from. You're very welcome, everybody. Just kind of looking to see. I missed all the comments today. I apologize. If anybody gave me a super chat, thank you. If you did. If not, that's totally cool. So that's what the freaking chromatic scale is. So easy the way he teaches. Why are you practicing scales? Yeah, I like this Dr. Pepper shirt, by the way. I like the a couple of years ago I bought all these soda shirts and I didn't wear them, and now I wear them. So I'm like a walking soda advertisement. But anyway, guys, you know, I did not like my own YouTube video. That's a funny comment, actually. Well, guys, I think I'm going to end it for today. Thank you so much for coming by today. I felt like it was a good session. Hope you guys got a lot out of it. I didn't get to communicate with anybody this whole time, but it does look like we got a pretty good sizable amount of likes and hopefully a decent amount of people in attendance. So thanks for coming by today. Real quick, hopefully you guys didn't all end so far. The pre-recorded lessons are going to be coming out soon. I still have a couple of lessons in the barrel from before, from other live streams we did. But anybody that wasn't in attendance last time, just like a little bit of announcement. So the live stream content is now going to be totally different from the like edited content. So before I was taking the live streams, editing them down into videos, and then releasing them later, like edited versions. Now it's totally different. Like the live stream is going to be its own thing. You're going to have to watch it. I'm not going to put out an edited version. And then I'm also going to put out different content as pre-recorded. So when pre-recorded videos come out, you're never going to have seen it before. It's going to be brand new stuff. And I'm going to be changing the, actually I've already been doing it, changing the live stream format so it's more friendly for people who are not into the live streams yet. But thanks guys for coming, and make sure to leave a like, and I'll see ya. Remember, pianolessonsontheweb.com, code YouTube for 15% off. So thanks everybody for coming, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much.